Hi my good people, I hope you are good. I'm also fine. So welcome back to my YouTube channel, and we are going to have a conversation because sometimes there are people who they really love us, but they can be a hindrance to our growth. Because I want to read something. So the people around us, that is family, friends or relatives, are our biggest obstacles. So it means there are people who they want good for us, but at the end of the day, they can hinder us from progressing. And let me share a story. So we know the story of Joseph and the brothers. And we know that God spoke to Joseph and he told Joseph in a dream, Joseph, so the brothers are bowing, and so you know the story. But I want us to remember that if Jacob, because Jacob loved Joseph so much, and if the journey of Joseph was to end Joseph in Egypt, do you think Jacob could have allowed Joseph to go to Egypt? Nah. Why? Because this was his favorite son. So it has to take a different dimension and a different way of Joseph finding his way to Egypt. So that's what I mean by saying sometimes people that love us can be a big obstacle to our growth, because they tend to say, we don't have to do that, we don't have to do that, this is so, it is not, are you sure, we don't want you to do this. And there are times they do it because they love us, and there are times they do it because they are jealous of us. And you find that you come home one day and you tell maybe your sibling or whoever that, I want to go back to school, I want to go and do this. And they're like, are you sure? It is not good for you. How will you pay the fees? Are you really sure that you are ready? But we know maybe this person is feeling like if you go back to school, you are going to be above them. And you are thinking they're telling you all this because they love you. But you need to audit this conversation, because sometimes they're telling you this because they don't want you to remind them of their stagnation. They don't want you to remind them of their procrastination, like they have been procrastinating things. Maybe they've been discussing about starting a business, and then you are here telling them you want to start a business. Those will advise you because they care about you. And that's why most of the time I don't read, you see people posting on TikTok and saying, as business, we are really struggling. If you're a business person, please come to the comment section. For me, I'm against that, because people have different grace for different things. So the fact that maybe you are facing some challenges doesn't mean that the other person is also facing some challenges. And we have to learn even to differentiate between if someone is really for us, like they meant good for us, or if someone is just jealous about us. So there's some points in life, there's a point in life where your spouse can be an obstacle. For Joseph, it was the brothers, that the brothers helped him, but they didn't know they were helping him. They were jealous about him. But God used the brothers to make Joseph to fulfill his purpose. That's why I love Joseph. Like, I love that story because it always reminds me that anything that happens to me, everything that happens to me, maybe they've meant it for evil, but God will turn it for good. And that's always remind me about Romans 8:28. I know my friends have been, Oyamo, you have been preaching this verse. It's my favorite. It's my favorite verse, because everything works together for good. But there are times where we don't want to do something because we feel like it is not the right time, And then the worst thing is you go share this idea with someone and the person will demoralize you more. They'll be like, economy is bad, you cannot try that, it is not good for your health, what if this happened? But for you, it is the right time. So your spouse can be a hindrance because you want to challenge them. Maybe you are a wife, you want to go back to school. Maybe your spouse can help you and support you, but there are times they are just against it because you are just trying to prove to them that you want to be more learned than them. Maybe they will take it like you are competing with them. And there are those guys who are mature and they know you need to support your partner. And as I've shared in a recent video, that it is good to empower your partner because you don't know about tomorrow. You can die tomorrow, they can die tomorrow. What will happen to your children? And that is why I'm always against these guys who say I cannot marry empowered woman, because this woman will take care of your children when you are not there. This woman will help you to have a challenging conversations that you can challenge your mind, and you can also make a very, very rational decision. So spouse can be someone who they can want good for you, and they will always go an extra mile, even paying school fees for you. I know of recent times you have watched a video of this lady who was burnt by the boyfriend, and because the boyfriend claims that he took her to school and all that, you know the story. But there are those people who they will encourage their spouse even to go back to school, because they want them to be empowered and to be a source of also income to the family, because we never know about tomorrow. But the spouses who you going back to school is challenging them. The spouses that maybe you get a job or a promotion and you go home and you are so happy and you are sharing, you know, surprise, you know, that I applied for this job and I was called, but you can't tell if they're really, really happy for you. Maybe they're feeling like, now you are going to have a lot of money. Unaenda kukua na kiburi, unaenda kuleta kichwa. It is not the case. Like, you should be happy that money is coming, so you're going to chop life. But there are those who they are like, sasa hii italeta a lot of competition. And I'm saying this because, let me tell you guys, there's this lady, she was married at 16 years. So when she got married, she got pregnant and then she got married. So this lady, after giving birth to 2 kids, now she was around 20. She decided, I'm going back to school, Gumbaru school. And she took herself to school. Remember, this is in Shags. So she'll go lima for people, apalilie shamba, alimie watu, and then she'll pay school fees. By and by God's grace, she finished high school, went to college, did procurement. By God's grace, she got a job, and that was the end of the marriage. You know why? Because the in-laws, they were telling the husband, now this lady amesoma, atakuwa kichwa ngumu, she will challenge you. Even sometimes the husband will be like, you know, my family are telling me sasa umekuwa kichwa ngumu, and maybe they're having a conversation. But now you see, even if this lady is speaking from a point of being realistic, but because this guy has this mentality of, you are saying this because you are learned, you are saying this because you have money more than me, you'll never move forward. So even anytime they have a conversation, it will end up in unasema hivyo juu umesoma. But apparently after some times of separation, kila mtu aliona hii maisha, there's no a better person out there. Like, everybody, they carry their own demons. So choose your demons and start praying over them. So after some times, of course, the husband looked for her, and now they're very happy and living together and raising their kids together. But it took around 8 years of separation, because the in-laws, they were there saying this lady will not even support you, this lady atasikia kitu yoyote, mwanamke afai kurudi shule and all that. So you find that when one spouse is upgrading, when maybe the man is going back to school, the woman is feeling like, now you are going back to school so that you can look for other ladies who are educated like you, because me, I'm not educated. Or now you are going back to school so that you can have more money, ndoanze kunisumbua. So I want us to take these things positively and know that if your spouse is working and you are both working, it is a plus to the family. If your spouse has decided to go back to school, support them. Don't see it as a threat. Don't see it as now you are trying to compete. Because I know guys who have gone back to school because they are competing. It's more of competition. The husband did degree and masters. The wife was also doing degree, masters. I don't know, PhD. Kila mtu anataka PhD. But if it is out of just complementing one another, if it is out of a pure and a genuine cause, I believe we should support our spouses in whatever they do. It can even be starting a business. Just having that mentality that this business is ours. And even if I'm not going to benefit, my children will benefit. For me, that's the mentality. So sometimes your spouse can tell you something and you're like, okay, they care, you know, they care about me, that's why they're saying this. But you need to verify, and you know, of course, you know your person, you know if they are genuine or not. And there are those who will be like, we don't have to do this because you're just reminding them about where they did not reach. And then the third group of people, it's friends. So now, friends, wacha niweke tablet chini. So now, for friends, for me, I tread carefully when it comes to friends. Of course, I don't have many friends. Friends, like these are for you to share something with someone about going back to school, or maybe starting a business or upgrading. You must be very close, very, very close. You have audited this person for some times, and you know the kind of a person you are dealing with. So this friend also, the same way it applies to spouses. For friends, yeah, it can be you want to get a good job and leave them where they are. You want to challenge them, and you want to prove to them that they need to take a step. You want to remind them of their own stagnation. And with this, they can advise you, but deep down, they're feeling like, I wish I was the one who was going back to school. So life is personal. It is good to share with people what you want to do. But I believe our life path is not a public project that you need to seek validation and approval from people who don't even matter, from people who don't even know how you pay your bills. So make sure that if you want to do something, if someone is telling you not to go that direction, verify and ask yourself, are they saying it? Is this meant for good? Or is this meant just they want us to be together in this zone, so that when they're saying, in the village, well, let me give you a story. So one time I went to the village, and there's this guy who came where we were doing something. So the guy was like, he was being followed by two guys. So these two guys were beating him in a way, like they wanted him to pay them the money that he owed. So this guy did not have their 100 shillings. So he was being harassed. And after they have passed, the person I was with saying, this guy who now is being harassed used to work in a very nice place. Alikuwa ameajiriwa like to look after someone's compound, and this person is in the US. And the person used to send money every month for this guy. And the person used even to send money to the mother, like alikuwa anamchukua kama brother yake. But because of alcohol and friends, this guy started even stealing and selling maize. And the friends will come and they will piga sherehe kwa boma ya wenyewe. And remember, this guy has a CCTV camera. So the guy was seeing everything. And then when the guy came back, the guy was like, now, sikutaki. So he was chased away. So these friends who were harassing him, they were one of the friends wenye walimharibia kazi. They are one of the friends who used to go to that compound and steal maize together and go and sell maize because they want to buy alcohol. They're the same friends who were there celebrating him, who were always there eating together. But now, because they have contributed to his downfall, now they are harassing him. Why? Because the aim was, kazi ishe tutoshane. Kazi ishe tutoshane. And it's the same thing I tell people. If you're having issues in your marriage, you should not go and tell everyone. The people who will tell you something because they want your marriage to end so that mtoshane. The people who will advise you because your progress brings a lot of bitterness, a lot of, hatred, a lot of envy, that they want things to fall apart for you so that you can be the same. So what I want us to know is, audit the people that you share with. Audit the people that you tell what you're planning to do, because they can be support system, they can be of good vibes, they can be very supportive, they can be so positive, they can be a source of strength, they can be a financial support, but at the same time, they can be hindrance to your progress. So make sure that you audit before you start sharing what you want to do, and make sure that it is out of love, but not out of jealousy, because there's a thin line between love and jealousy. So if you're not careful, you'll be thinking, no, they care. That's why I didn't start that business. Because my cousin, he really cared about me. So why should I start that business? My cousin advised me just to wait. And then after a month or two, huyo cousin yako ameanza hiyo biashara. So my friends, make sure you audit if it is out of love or out of jealousy. So for now, may God bless you and bye-bye.